go. So I'm driving right now, so hopefully my service won't go in and out. Um, I like this matchup right here, man. Marek Gassiev, he is making his entrance into the heavyweight division, cruiserweight, former unified champion. Last time we seen Gassiev, he was in the ring with Usyk, and they had the undisputed match for cruiserweight. All right, I believe Gassiev had the WBA and IBF when they fought, and then Usyk had the WBC and WBO. All right, um, Marek Gassiev. Now he is a guy I've actually heard Chris Arreola say in sparring, not in an actual real fight, but in sparring. Chris Arreola said that he believes Gassiev hits the hardest. He's the hardest puncher he's been with in sparring. They had on 18-ounce gloves and headgear, and he said Gassiev could crack. All right. I know Marek Gassiev actually did a video about this 3 years ago. You guys can look it up. I did a video that Gassiev was in training camp. He was helping Deontay Wilder prepare for Povetkin, the fight that never took place, but he was actually helping Wilder prepare for Povetkin. So this is somebody, Gassiev, not even counting what he's done at cruiserweight, but usually a lot of cruiserweights spar with heavyweights anyways, all right? So it's nothing new. But he's a guy that's been in there with some guys who are also perceived to be hard punchers, you know what I mean? Wilder, Areola, guys like that. And I'm sure there's some other guys who he has sparred that I probably just can't remember right now on top of my head, all right? Now, regardless of all the sparring sessions at cruiserweight, Gassiev could crack, right? Good left hook, good right hand, but the left hook is really his bread and butter, man. I've seen Gassiev fight quite a few times. Isaiah Thomas. Obviously, I've seen the Jordan Schimmel KO, which was brutal. Seen the Dorticos fight, the Usyk fight, Vladarjic. I've seen Gassiev quite a few times, man. Now, I've seen, as far as his style, I've seen him do some different things, right? Usually, he is the guy that puts up the high guard and he wants to hunt you down, all right? He's the type of dude where he'll lead with he's a orthodox fighter, so he's the type of dude that'll lead with a left uppercut. You know what I mean? He's not your traditional, I'm just going to lead with jabs and then try to follow behind the jab. No, he'll lead with a left uppercut or lead with a 4-punch uppercut combination, left, right, and then throw a right hook. You know what I mean? Or he'll lead with like I said, an uppercut to the chin and then 2 uppercuts to the body on the same side. He throws those type of combinations, all right? He wants to let his hands go. Sometimes he puts his hands on the shelf, and his defense in a lot of his fights I've seen is just put the high guard up, absorb and roll with shots, and then come out of that with his shots. All right. Dorticos in their fight, Dorticos was making him go back a little bit and circle and making him think a little bit. But even when he was moving and giving little slight movements with his head, it was still pretty much high guard, let you get off, and then I'm gonna get off type of guy. All right. Joey Dawekjo, man, like this is crazy. You know, it's good to see Dawekjo in one of these type of fights. His name is buzzing right now. Allegedly, right? Even though I've heard, was it Hearn? I think Hearn came out and he denied it, but allegedly he's the guy that knocked out or knocked down or gave Joshua at least a tough time in sparring. And I kind of grinned to myself when I heard that it was Joey Dawekjo, because I'm like, yeah, Dawekjo's a tough little Philly fighter, man. Like, that's a tough dude, man. I know you might look at his record or, you know, and look at his stature and might not think much of him, and that's fine. You know, he's a 14-time national champion here in America. He's about 5'10", right? Only got a 70-inch reach. You know, Gassiev doesn't have no huge reach himself. I think he's like 76-inch reach. I think he's about 6'4". Dawekjo's about 5'10". You know what I mean? Dawekjo's about 5'10", but he's about Dawekjo about 245, something like that, 235. As they call him, he's like a tank in there, right? He's been in there with some of who's who. Now, before I get to his style, he's been there with some of who's who, man. I know early in his career when Dawekjo was, once upon a time, when he was an 8-0 or 7-0 prospect, he jumped in there within a year's time. He jumped in there with the young, early in his career, Charles Martin. That's the only fight I really seen him dominated in, was a Charles Martin fight. The only time I seen Dawekjo dominated, like he ran out of gas and he couldn't deal with the fighting Martin at that range. Martin was fighting him on the end of his reach, and he was popping in and out with combinations, and you know, I think that just gave him problems, along with him fatiguing in that fight. But he's been in there with guys like Derek Ross. He went to decision with him. But in that year's time, though, that I was talking about, he fought Charles Martin, Jarrell Miller, gave Jarrell Miller a draw. And he also fought Marcel, what was dude's name, man? Marcel Barnwell. I did a video on Barnwell before. He was an undefeated prospect too at one time. So, you know, and this was in a year's time that Dawekjo had did that. Barneswell, Miller, and Charles Martin. All right. Who else he's been in there with, man? He also had a draw with Rodney Hernandez. You may say, who the hell is Rodney Hernandez? Rodney Hernandez is another one of those guys that's kind of tough for your prospect to get in there with. Hernandez just beat LaRon Mitchell, who was undefeated. Hernandez guys went the distance with Zhang Ji Li and guys like that, and F.A. Jagba's been knocking everybody out in 1 or 2 rounds, right? Well, who's the guy that took him the furthest in his career so far to the 5th round? Rodney Hernandez. You know what I mean? So Dawekjo has always been in there with these tough type of fights. Then his last 3 fights, right? Andre Fedosov and Jennings. Ironically, Jennings and Fedosov fought each other, but Jennings, Fedosov. Then he was also in there with his last fight against Sergey Kuzmin, a fight that I thought Dawekjo could have won that one, man. You know what I mean? So he's lost 3 in a row, all decisions, and I think he's due for one here, man. I think Dawekjo's due for one. I think this might be an upset, y'all. But now let's break down the styles now. All right. Dawekjo, he's the type of dude, man. Even though he's 5'10" and he has the frame that he fights in, the dude actually, if he was like, now I don't want to go by ifs, right? But if he was like 6'5", 6'6", the style he fights in will fit his body type perfect if he was, 6'5", 6'6", but he's not. He's 5'10" with a 70-inch reach. He has good fundamental boxing skills as far as, knowing how to work the jab from his hip. Good counter puncher. He can switch lefty to righty. He's tough. He has a chin. The Mansour fight, man, when even though Mansour, got that, but when he switched to southpaw, man, he was landing this looping counter overhand left on Mansour. Like, as soon as Mansour would throw, and if Mansour didn't touch him or he was lazy throwing, whop! Joy was coming over with a quick ass overhand left, man. Quick. It made Mansour move around a little bit. Mansour said, the hell with this, man. I'm gonna move around a little bit and try to work a different angle. Joey can go lefty to righty on you, and he's comfortable doing both. And defensively, he's sound when he switches right or left. It's not like when he switches to one position, he's his footwork's all tangled. All right, we are back. You could tell there's something that he has been working on forever, man. So, he's fluid when he does that. All right. But when he gets on the inside, I think he can work even a little bit more. I think Dawekjo comes from that, as far as the way he fights, man, he's not a guy who's going to move a lot on his feet. And that's a problem that Gassiev had with Usyk, because Usyk was moving around. He was using his legs a lot. Usyk not only was moving his upper body, but he has really good legs, man. Dawekjo isn't really a mover like that. He comes from that page of like James Toney, where he'll be flat-footed and he'll make you miss by just moving his upper body. Rolling his upper body, rolling with shots, coming back with counters. I don't think he puts his hands together as well as James Toney does. James Toney's a damn all-time great fighter. I don't, but he kind of gives me that mindset as far as that goes, as far as making you miss my moving his upper body, being a shorter, smaller heavyweight. Smaller meaning just reach and height, all right? Not necessarily weight, all right? But it's weight class and not height class, all right? But the thing is, man, is I have a feeling that even though Dawekjo is fundamentally sound and all that, man, you just have that feeling, man, that Gassiev is going to overwhelm him, man. That's just the feeling I'm going to get. Maybe I'm, underestimating Joey, man, but I think Joey can hold his own because he's proven it against other fighters. You know what I mean? But I think Gassiev may just overwhelm him with that power, man. Gassiev throws a good left hook, like I said, not only upstairs but to the body. Dawekjo's going to have to make him miss, man. I don't think he's going to stand there and just slug with this guy. Now, Gassiev is coming up, and we're going to see if his power just moves up to heavyweight with him. Usually hand speed moves up with you. Now, just devastating power moving up from cruiserweight to heavyweight, we're going to have to see. You know what I mean? But the dude can crack, though, man. And on those night of the fights when he's at cruiserweight, he's well over 200 pounds. You dig what I'm saying? So it's not like he, just this small guy coming up in there. And one thing these cruiserweights going to have an advantage on some of these bigger heavyweights is they put punches together. They'll throw 6s and 7s and 8s and things like that. The thing is with this fight though, Dawekjo's not your big, huge 6'8" heavyweight that wants to pot shot and probe with his jab and all that type of thing. He's one of those guys that can put together 3s and 4s and 5s. Sometimes he'll do it periodically, but if he can do it consistently in this fight, you know what I mean, and work that jab. He has a pretty damn good, stiff, quick jab too, man. If he can offset Gassiev with that jab, tie him up on the inside, let quick combinations go, tie him up, and just step off to the left or right. Because again, like I said, he's not really a mover on his feet like that, but you at least want to be able to step off line after you throw combinations and hold when you have to. You dig what I'm saying? If he can do that to Gassiev, man, and disrupt his rhythm and get Gassiev chasing him a little bit and be able to back him up a little bit at times. And I know that's saying a lot, you know what I mean? But I've seen guys do this to him, you know what I mean? And I've seen guys make a miss. Isaiah Thomas made a miss a little bit. You know what I mean? Obviously, Usyk made a miss in different ways, not just with legs, by moving your upper body. All right? And Gassiev, like I said, sometimes he had a tendency to put his own offense on the shelf by just putting his high guard up. All right? Interesting style matchup, man. I think it's going to be a tough fight for Gassiev, and I just don't see this as a just, you know, him just introducing himself to the heavyweight in a, you know, just looking hella, hella impressive. This may be a dog fight for him, man. And I don't think Dawekjo's going to be intimidated at all by Gassiev. There's nothing there that I think is going to, not the power. I'm sorry, I don't think Dawekjo's not going to be intimidated of Gassiev. I don't think his power is going to intimidate him. The quickness, nothing. You know, because he's been in there with his fair share of tough heavyweights. All right, it's going to be a good one, man. It's going down July 27th. I also got to see Kenzie Morrison, not to get confused with Trey Lippy Morrison, the other son of Tommy Morrison, but Kenzie Morrison. I seen his fight with Ed. Damn, what was that dude's name? You guys go on Box Rec, and I think the dude's name was Ed Childs. Seen that fight, first round victory. He moves on to, I think he's 15-0 with 2 draws, and I think he has 14 KOs or 13 KOs. But anyways, that fight's on YouTube. I got to check that fight out, man. Kenzie gonna have to work on moving his head, man, because there was some hooks that got in on him that popped his head back, and had that been a harder puncher, I know we don't want to play the if game all the time, but had, you know, if that was a harder puncher, man, shit, because he was put with some good left hooks in that fight, and it was a short first round fight, but he put the pressure on. He was relentless. The kid has fighting in his blood. He was able to get the stoppage. All right. So good victory for Kenzie Morrison, you know what I mean, over Ed Childs. And Ed Childs hadn't fought in like 9 or 10 years. So it was against a guy that hadn't fought in quite some time, man. But the guy did land some good left hooks and popped his head back. That fight actually took place, was that June 1st? Yeah, I think it was the day of the Ruiz-Joshua fight, man. Then there was another fight, and I brought this guy up earlier in the video because Joey Dawekjo fought him. Rodney Hernandez, man, he just upset, and this is a guy that, shout out to my man Cali Enigma, but Cali was asking me about this guy, African dude. I forgot the damn dude's name, man. If you guys go look up Rodney Hernandez, he fought an African dude. I don't even want to butcher this guy's name, but the dude was 17-0 with 17 KOs. And before I could really check him out, because Cali was telling me about him, the dude ended up getting upset. The articles was online, and again I seen who he fought, and I seen Rodney Hernandez's name, and I'm grinning to myself like, yeah, Hernandez just beat an undefeated LaRon Mitchell, so it's no surprise to me that he was able to win that fight. You know what I mean? No surprise to me at all, man. I'm driving right now, so I won't be able to get to you guys in the chat, man. Damn. But I would definitely read the archives. So I got to Kenzie Morrison, gave my opinion about this Dawekjo Gassiev fight. And you know what, man? This right here, Andrew Ruiz, not only did he just pick up his victory, you know, shouts out to him being the first Mexican heavyweight champion. And I'm not going to argue semantics about him being the first Mexican champion, man. I've been seeing stuff, and technically he's an American. It's like, yeah, he was born in America. His parents are Mexican from Mexico. That boy's a Mexican. You dig what I'm saying? But that's neither here nor there, man. What I will say is this. His victory over Joshua showed me that this era will not just be ruled by 6'7", 6'8". I've always felt that all it took was just the right, 6'1", 6'2", shorter heavyweight to get in there and let his hands go and use his advantages. And Ruiz definitely did that on fight night. Now you got guys like Gassiev making his way in. You got guys like Usyk. And there's some other guys out there, man, that are out there. If they let their hands go, come with their game plan, obviously they can't go in there and fight a big man's fight, but just use their advantages, man. Let your hands go. One thing about some of these bigger guys, what I've been saying is they don't throw in 6s, 7s, and 8s. Let combinations go like that. They do when they got you hurt and they're trying to get you out of there. But I'm talking about just moving around the ring, throwing 4s and 5s and 6s. The way the heavyweights in the 80s were doing. Like a Michael Dokes or a Greg Page or a Tim Witherspoon, somebody like that. And obviously guys like Mike Tyson and Larry Holmes. Guys like that, man. I really wasn't seeing a lot of that with these guys, man. It's a whole bunch of 1-2s and 1-2-3s and jab right, and it works, and that style works. It's up to you to offset that style. You know what I mean? It's not those big guys' fault. But if you let your hands go and go to that body, man, that's like a lost art, man. So I'm glad that Ruiz showed that, hey, man, the body punches are still there. I know you got guys like Dillian White that are ripped to the body, but I mean overall in the division. You know what I mean? I went back and watched that Ruiz, man. I watched that Ruiz Joshua about damn near 30 times, just trying to break it down and look at different things that Ruiz did. And yeah, it wasn't nothing fluke about that. I'm hearing, Joshua didn't look right and he wasn't right. Okay, fine. But Ruiz looked right. He was right. You know what I mean? His game plan was not flukish. That man's fought like that pretty much against everybody. Joe Hanks, the Dimitrenko fight. And there was some in that Dimitrenko fight that he was doing. I'm ending with this, kind of went off topic a little bit, but Ruiz, the way he was walking Dimitrenko down, Dimitrenko was trying to paw and probe with jabs and little light right hands, and Ruiz was, moving his head, walking or taking steps forward, sliding forward, and he was using his guard, his gloves, his left and right hand to knock down those parries, and he was working his way in, and then he was lean in and shoot jabs and shoot overhand rights as he would step in. He's a technical brawler, man. He brawls with you, but he's technical about his work. You dig what I'm saying? Andrew Ruiz is gonna be a motherfucker to deal with for anybody. And it's good that it's coming to light now, man. I went back and actually looked at because I've only done, guys, since I've been here on YouTube, man, for 10 years, and then I've had this channel up for about 5 years. I've only done about 2 or 3 top 10s for heavyweights. And the reason why I don't do them, y'all, is because I want all these guys fighting each other, man. That's how I like doing my rankings, to see if all these dudes fight each other. But anyways, the 2 that I have done, the last one I did, I think it was like 2017 or 2016. I didn't have Andy in my top 10, but then I named about 3 fighters outside the top 10, and one of them was Ruiz. And the reason why I didn't have Ruiz in my top 10 back then, because he just wasn't active enough, and it was just, sometimes Andy would just be inactive, or when he did come back, it'd be against like a journeyman, then he'll be inactive again. So his skill set was always up there to me. It's just that his, fighting guys and staying active and getting in there with, guys that are, perceived to be, top 10, he just wasn't getting those type of fights. But I knew once he did get those type of fights, he'll cause hell for anybody. You dig what I'm saying? So I've always viewed Andy as a top 15-ish guy. And more, he'll be top 10 if he got those fights against Takam and Povetkin and Joseph Parker and guys of that nature. And he's starting to get those type of fights, and look what he's doing. He whooped Anthony Joshua, and after that Parker Ruiz fight, I had it a draw live after the fight. Some people thought that Ruiz won, some people thought that Parker lost. We know how that goes, all right? But Parker's proven that he's a motherfucker to deal with, man. You dig what I'm saying? He's a motherfucker to deal with. But look, y'all, I gotta go. That is my opinion about Dawekjo versus Gassiev. I was driving, so I'll listen back to it, man, and see if there's anything else I want to add to this fight. I'm sure I'll talk about Gassiev versus Dawekjo again. But appreciate y'all showing up, man. Let me see if I can just run through. At least let me do the super chat, man, but I got to go. D-Style Boxer, appreciate that super chat, bro. He says, jab that like button. Yes, give me a Larry Holmes, Carl Williams, Ray Mercer, Sonny Liston, Klitschko type of jab to that like button. Hey, man, I appreciate y'all showing up for this quick, unexpected live stream. I'm gone.